What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So I wanted to talk about a commission that I wrapped up earlier in the week. I did want to do a demo video on it. However, I have done a demo video on this hilt already. This, to my surprise, not surprise really, I knew it was coming. This was one of the very, very first install commissions that I had ever done, like professionally as an installer. I still don't consider myself a professional, but this was one of the first installs that I actually charged money for. Let's put it that way. And it wasn't even a full install. It was actually a chassis swap. So the client was not, but the client purchased the hilt used on the marketplace and was not happy at all with the chassis that was installed in this hilt, and it wasn't a very, very good chassis. So it was a transplant. To keep costs down, the client wanted to keep costs down, so we reused all of the components essentially. So I transplanted the Proffieboard, everything into a new chassis, and this was a very early rendition of one of my chassis. It was really, really cool to see this again and to be able to upgrade it and put some really nice greeblies on the chassis and kind of upgrade the crystal chamber as well. But it was really, really cool. I mean, not only having repeat customers obviously means a lot to me, because that means that people were happy and they have been happy with the product in the end, so they want to come back. This particular client actually has turned into a very good friend of mine, and it is definitely a repeat customer. So it was really, really cool to see this hilt come back and, like, you know, admire how I used to do chassis. I did this chassis. This was back when I was actually like gluing real wire and resistors onto chassis instead of like designing greeblies in Fusion. I actually like put stuff and glued stuff on the chassis. So it was cool to like have this come back to me. So we did a complete overhaul on this one. I redesigned a chassis. I also put in a custom crystal chamber module. Like, so a few months ago, I designed a crystal chamber module and I printed it. I printed a few of them in brass through CraftCloud. I really wanted to try out CraftCloud's services. We're used to seeing metal prints in Shapeways, but I wanted to try CraftCloud, and I was really, really happy with not only the turnaround time, but the quality of the brass print was just as good as Shapeways, but it was significantly cheaper and it was actually quicker. So I had a couple of those. The client wanted me to put one of those in this build. This is a crystal reveal hilt, so we put that in there. Brand new Proffie, brand new chassis, and that's it. Right? So we're going to do that, what we usually do. I want to talk about the chassis really quick in Fusion, and then we'll do a quick demo and we'll be on our way. All right? So let's come down into chassis. Let's come into Fusion. So this is the chassis that I designed for this install. So this is you'll notice that there's like this weird stepped action that's going on above here. So I use this to affix the brass crystal chamber module. It kind of sits up top here. And I utilize the rest as my wire management, right? So some of the leads go into this channel, and all the stuff, all of the leads from the Proffieboard area come out of here, and all of that is affixed with the brass piece that goes over all of this, right? Other than that, just our usual stuff, right? We've got a cavity here for the Proffieboard. It sits in this tray, press fits, and then slides up underneath to help it to be secured a little bit more. There is a kill switch in this area, 28mm speaker down here, and around back is our battery tray, right? Nice and simple. So I also did my greebly work around both sides. Now so on the old chassis, right, I put a real brass ring. I wanted to not only keep the same color of the chassis, like I did our buff and rub pass on the old one. I did the same buff and rub pass on this one, but I also wanted to keep that brass ring. It was just like on the old chassis. So that's what this channel is for. I just put a piece of real brass in here, and we'll talk about that right now, actually. So let's come up to the top, right? So this is it. This is a hilt that was built by Nihil Sabers. Again, it was purchased used on Facebook Marketplace almost a year, 2 years ago. Really, really rad hilt. I mean, obviously it's a scrap flex variant. We've got a Graflex top here. We've got a Graflex clamp section around here. Some really, really, really nice etching on this guy as well. Okay, just a really, really super, super beautiful, unique hilt. Okay, that does have a crystal reveal. I really, really appreciate that this upper brass or upper Graflex section was taken down to that brass. Both of them actually. So this is another probably piece of a Graflex that was cut. I don't know, just a really, really, really cool, unique hilt with a crystal reveal. Okay, so single button setup. That's it. What else can we really talk about, right? So let's talk about how to use it. To get to the chassis, this is a fixed, stationary, static chassis. Unscrew your grip. So there's that brass ring I was talking about. I put that on the old chassis. I just wanted to carry that over. But other than that, just the same deal. I did a passive buff and rub on this one. Added some oil stain pigments from Tamiya. I did like do some, just like little splashes of color on the chassis. And that's it, right? And there's that brass crystal chamber module that I weathered. I did that in like a vinegar bath to make it look, to get some of those greens that we see, that I like to see on real world brass weathering, right? So to use the hilt, you want to take the flat part of your battery. Negative side is the spring.
This is red 5, I'm going in.
So that was already on. If you don't hear anything, hit that kill switch.
This is red 5, I'm going in.
And put your grip on. Single button setup, so we're ready to go. And there's that crystal chamber. Really cool, I think. So let's come back down here. So
I am no Jedi.
There's the crystal chamber. I don't know. I'm happy with the way that came out. I did put one in my personal scrap killer. I just really was trying out Craft Cloud services, and I was happy with it, right? So let's put a blade in it. So in true Graflex form, this is a 7/8 inch blade holder. So you take, there was a blade plug in there. You take your blade plug out, rest your blade on those nice PCB pins. There is a nice knurled thumb screw here. And that's it. You're ready to go. Great hilt. Put the blade down deep enough. There we go. Let's see what else we put on here. So I just kept the fonts that were on here that were with the original hilt.
The Nihil.
Really, really nice. There we go. Single button on OS 6 is a little bit different. I've talked about before, I'm not a big fan of single button setup because it's just a little bit more tricky to navigate the menu, Proffieboard menu. Just a really, really nice hilt. There's that crystal chamber. So every font's got a different animation
I'm a Jedi.
in the crystal chamber.
Like my father before me.
So the crystal chamber, that's its own blade in the config, and I will put that on the SD card. And that's it. So yeah, it was a really nice change, but like it was nice to see this hilt come back and be able to upgrade it to my typical standards now. But it was, it's just cool seeing, something that was, when I first started out. So it was neat seeing that. So anyway, to the client, again, thank you for your return business. To the viewers, if anyone has any questions, about this particular hilt or anything in general, really, hit me up. Don't be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching.